What's going on, everybody? How you doing? In today's video, we are doing a donation request. This is for Rob. This is 10,000 Maniacs, the song More Than This. This is off of their 2007 album, the first one after Natalie Merchant left. This is off the album Love Among the Ruins. It also appears it was their last album on Geffen Records. Apparently they got dropped 3 months after this record. So this record sold 200,000 copies, 30,000 of those within 3 months of release, and that wasn't good enough for Geffen, which in 1997 makes sense. Maybe that was because Natalie Merchant wasn't in the band anymore. Maybe it was because it had been years since they released an album, but probably, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. Losing your lead singer is kind of a big deal. So we're going to check this out. More Than This is a cover. It's a Roxy Music song, which I'm not familiar with Roxy Music. I don't know Roxy Music. I see that Brian Eno was in the band. I don't know a ton of Brian Eno either. I know some, not really a ton. It's not something that I really dug into. So yeah, all of this is going to be new to me. So we're going to check this out. If you're new here, please subscribe. Check out my videos, all kinds of videos, reaction videos, bass videos, music videos. Check it out. If you want to support the channel, you like the channel, hit super thanks underneath this video. You can hit me direct in the description. I got PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Amazon wishlist, mailing address, and I do donation requests just like this one. So if there's something you want me to listen to, watch, talk about, hit me direct, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. In the notes section, leave a link, leave a description. Let me know what you want the video to be on and I'll make the video. You can also email me at jpanreadsemail@gmail.com. Thank you guys. Okay, let's check this out. 10,000 Maniacs, More Than This. Bam. Whoa. Dance. Just like floating over this like dance track. So is the guitars. Hear how it's just a song and they just put a beat behind it? This could super easily be a ballad. Like really, how she's singing it, the guitar stuff, the keys stuff, they just put a dance beat on it. You know, if you take the claps away now, yeah. Cool. Yeah, it's cool. Sound like a nice song, you know? They just how they arranged it basically with that beat was I don't know, is the original like that? Is it like a dance kind of thing, the original? I mean, I've only heard the only other 10,000 Maniacs song I heard is that Verde Cries. Which is not like this at all. So I don't have a lot to pull from back here in terms of like knowing them. So I don't know, maybe all their stuff or way more of their stuff sounds more like this. Yeah, I would know. I mean, from what I read, it sounds like the record label wanted them to do a cover. They picked this song. They probably liked it. They probably were like, yeah, this is a good song. Let's do this and let's do it like this. And this fits us. I didn't specifically think that she sounded like Natalie Merchant, aside from the fact that they're, both female vocalists. I didn't think that, tonally she sounded like her. I don't know. It didn't come off as similar. And she got in the band because wasn't somebody in the band was already working with her, is that right? Yeah, she was working with John Lombardo. She already was in a duo with John Lombardo, so that's how she was able to just jump in the band, because when Natalie left, it's like, oh hey, I was already working with this other female vocalist, let's see if she works, let's throw her in the mix. Okay, yeah, she works, cool, let's just roll with this. Right? I think that it was just kind of like that basic. Like, yeah, I was already working with her. Let's just do this, right? Yeah, I don't think that there's anything else to it than that. They chose that song based off of Geffen Records told them to do a cover. So that's what they did. Let's see. During her 13 years as singer for 10,000 Maniacs, Natalie Merchant was the hippie chick of alternative rock. She danced barefoot, sang about political issues in her folky croon, espoused causes, and was largely responsible for the Maniacs' reputation as the world's most politically correct band. But 2 years after, Ms. Merchant abruptly declared that she was leaving the Maniacs to begin a solo career. She hired a new manager, accountant, lawyer, and band, and then recorded Tiger Lily, an album of straightforward soft rock that is an anomaly in a music scene in which reckless female performers reign supreme. Ms. Merchant, 31, says she left the Maniacs to gain more control over her work. Quote, "It was very liberating knowing that every song that I wanted to put on the record could go on." She was so determined to make Tiger Lily her personal statement that she produced it herself and financed it without the help of her record company, Elektra. Wow. Quote, "She came to me," okay, this is her new manager. "She came to me with a very clear need to take control of her own professional life. It was such an enormous accomplishment for her to leave the band, write these songs, produce herself, to take a stand after all those years of being in a band where she was in a committee-like environment. Ms. Merchant does not like to talk about the split, and the band, which has continued on without her, would not comment at all. Her decision to strike on her own was partly inspired by the fact that These Days, a song from the Maniacs' last studio album, Our Time in Eden, was used without her permission in the short-lived television series Class of '96. Some people use their symbolic value to sell tennis shoes or soft drinks," she says. "The only times I've granted use of my image is for nonprofit organizations. Other than that, I just sell myself, I guess. That's enough commodifying for one person." Yeah, so that whole paragraph, wow, that's a big deal. She didn't like that. For all her desire to make a strong personal statement, Tiger Lily is surprisingly sedate. Her famously voluptuous voice is slurred and languid. Mixed high in the album's sparse production, songs range from the country-tinged ballad "Beloved Wife" to the upbeat Wonder to River, a lament for the late River Phoenix. The album recently entered the Billboard chart at number 13 and has received both praise and pans. Al Weissel, writing in Rolling Stone, excoriated Miss Merchant's blindly self-obsessed lyrics and lulling light rock arrangements. She closes her ears to such criticism. "I don't want to hear it," she says. "It'll make me cry. If you open yourself that much as an artist, the last thing you want to hear is that someone's spitting all over it. Musical taste is very subjective, and some people won't like it, just like I don't like asparagus." One of the singer's problems is her status as an alt-rock figure. Although the term just barely applied to 10,000 Maniacs, Miss Merchant is better understood as an old-fashioned singer-songwriter. "I'm really shocked sometimes to see I'm still considered an alternative artist, because my question is, alternative to what?" she says. "I think I'm working with a really familiar vocabulary. vocabulary. A song like Cowboy Romance could have been written 200 years ago. There's nothing cutting edge about it. Uncomfortable with computerized modern music, she chose to use vintage recording equipment for Tiger Lily. I feel the digital recording technique is very cold, she says. It sounds really steely, like little steel needles. Historically, few female musicians have worked in the avant-garde. Even today's most innovative female performers tend to experiment with lyrics and image rather than with stretching the boundaries of sound. Ms. Merchant herself has no ambition to create groundbreaking music. It's really hard to invent something new, she says. I don't want to make dissonant music. I want to make music that's beautiful to listen to. Her vocal influences range from the black divas Mahalia Jackson and Nina Simone to the white folk rock sirens Sandy Denny and June Tabor. My grandmother's grandmother's grandmother soothed her children to sleep with her voice. She says, I understand that to subvert that tradition is pretty powerful, but I don't want to abandon this legacy that I think is so important. In the Maniacs' early days, Ms. Merchant would spin about the stage like a whirling dervish, purring unintelligible lyrics that verge on the mystical. She wore asexual thrift store dresses and was worshipped by sensitive teenage girls who saw in her a wise, down-to-earth role model. But since she recorded her last album with 10,000 Maniacs, the rock arena has been taken over by a different kind of female artist. Okay. Yeah, all kinds of things. I'm very angry at times, but I've chosen a different way to express it than Courtney Love. Yeah, they brought up Courtney Love, PJ Harvey, stuff like that. I guess I let the rage out of me in the early days, and I've since learned to channel it. I can understand why Courtney stands on stage and screams society is on the verge of insanity all the time, and maybe she's the only one responding sanely. A lot of people say if you're going down, we should go down screaming, but I think if we're going down, maybe we should comfort each other. Where once she addressed issues like child abuse and adult illiteracy, Ms. Merchant's songs are now more personal, dwelling on love and disappointment. One thing I find extremely loathsome is when pop singers think, just add water and become instant political analyst, she says with a groan, but that does not mean she has shed her aura of earnestness. I'm a sensible person generally. My mother always said I was one of those 10 going on 40 kids, the kind of kid who would volunteer to go to school in the summer just to hang out with my teachers. Okay. Yeah. So there was some interesting things in that. This article that I just read is from July 23rd, 1995. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff in there about her leaving. Tiger Lily went triple platinum, has outsold every Maniacs record, and established her as a legitimate solo artist. That's insane. Super insane. I mean, that was just intensely the right thing to do. I mean, hindsight is, she could have done it and it could have flopped. So, it's whatever, but good for her. I mean, while there are obvious similarities between Ramsey and Merchant, particularly the willowy, wispy timbre of their singing voices, Lombardo sees distinct differences. With Natalie, he says, the song takes a back seat to her voice in much the same way that Van Morrison approaches his music. Mary is much more emotionally direct and sings in the service of the song. Merchant's departure has also enabled the band to reassert its group identity, which these days tends to lean towards its folky roots. I think this band deserves its due for bringing folk back into the mainstream, and that's something that I want to continue. That's interesting given the song we just listened to. Mary is one of the best fiddle players around, and that brings a whole other dimension to the band. There's much more guitar, violin, interplay on stage now and more improv. The new songs on the new album are also more up-tempo than the last few Maniacs albums with Natalie. It's more like how the band used to sound before we were signed. Lots of interesting stuff. This was what I just read was written in November 11th, 1997. Yeah, interesting stuff. I like this song. I thought it was cool. I thought they sounded good. It was a cool vibe. I mean, they basically took a good song, and I mean, I don't know what the original sounds like, but it sounds like they just took a song that was nice and put a dance beat under it. It's cool. Yeah, nice. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you. I'll catch you in the next video.